Thanks, Bob. I'm here with Ken Ehrhart. He's the CEO and co-founder of Paracosma, which is a VR studio. They're working on a number of different projects, and interestingly, and as you might have assayed from the title, starting a new virtual reality studio in Kathmandu. He and his brother have most of their staff in Nepal. Which is a very interesting and unusual place to have a team. Ken has been in the business a long time on all sides. He's been in venture capital, he's been a corporate executive, he's been an entrepreneur as he is today. Welcome, Ken, and thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. It's great to be here. It's funny, I have better internet connectivity in Kathmandu than I do here in California.
Yeah, that's crazy. So let's get right to it. Tell us what Paracosma is working on, and anything else you think we need to know about your company.
Well, Paracosma is a full-service VR company. We do everything from 360 photos and videos to photogrammetry models of real places to fully interactive VR games. We're both developing our own content internally, as well as doing outsourced services for other companies in the space. As you said, we have a R&D team, a development team in Kathmandu. We have about 17 engineers there now, as well as a team in Tokyo and in California here.
And what projects are you working on? Are they on the consumer side? Are they things we would see, or are they enterprise level things?
A little of both. On the internal projects, we have a game called Unnamed, which we've demoed now at VRLA as well as at E3. We expect to have a commercial consumer release of that game before the holidays, hopefully late this fall. That will launch on both PlayStation 4 as well as Vive and possibly some other platforms.
Fantastic. So you have a great story. You got into this business way back in the 80s, right? You were interested in digital media in the days of CD-ROMs.
Yeah, I've really grown up with the digital industry. Back when I was a young boy, my father started a burglar and fire alarm company, and so everything was analog switches and relays then. And we gradually developed to programmable processors and then general purpose processors. I've been in the technology research area since the mid-90s and a VC since the year 2000. So over the course of a few decades, I've looked at thousands of companies in media as well as enterprise.
And you've done a lot of work in the Far East. We were talking about the Far East recently, in particular the Chinese market, which I understand is now about the same size as the market here in North America.
Yeah, we have about 100 people in Tokyo at the Sunbridge offices and incubator. Sunbridge is my VC company, Sunbridge Partners. We've specialized in enterprise software. Sunbridge brought Salesforce.com to Japan. We brought Concur to Japan, Marketo, Demandware, a number of billion-dollar enterprise software companies. So we have both the Sunbridge IT team, the Paracosma team, and several of our joint venture companies located in our offices in Tokyo.
So, and how did you make the leap from Tokyo to Kathmandu? That seems kind of extraordinary that you found creative engineers and graphic designers over there.
For about 8 years now, I've been a director of an internet video company that has its development team and offices in Kathmandu. It was founded in Tokyo, but with development in Kathmandu. And we looked at what they were doing in terms of the quality of the technology and the value, the price per engineer, and it was really outstanding. And so we've been looking at different ways to get engaged with the technology market in Kathmandu for quite a while. And about a year and a half ago, through some trips we took to Kathmandu, we decided that the time was right to begin a VR company, partly as an offshoot of our internet video company. So the internet video company serves about 2 million subscribers every month, both 175 live channels and video on demand. We took that back-end platform and we've added 360 media on the input side as well as headsets on the output side to have an end-to-end 360 media platform as well. So it's partly as an offshoot of what we were doing there with internet video and partly looking at the relative value compared to the 2 dozen other portfolio companies I've had over the years.
You mean its value because it's low cost to run?
Well, it's...
You mean its value because it's
low cost and high capability. So in Nepal, you have about 30 million people, roughly the same as California or Tokyo. Those engineers, those entrepreneurs don't have that many opportunities to get involved in high-end technology. By locating our VR R&D lab there, we're able to attract the best and the brightest employees and give them the tools they need to excel in this new space.
You and I were talking the other day, and I think one of the challenges that a content company has unique challenges in a maturing industry. So you have an opportunity to be a first mover and to take advantage of what that offers you, which is the audience is smaller, but you have fewer competitors. At the same time, the smaller audience means that it's harder to achieve critical mass in sales. So for a young company, it's kind of a balancing act of timing. So I guess the Kathmandu operation allows you to control costs and therefore control burn, and therefore allow you to be more patient in your development of your studio.
Yeah, that's exactly right. What we're building at Paracosma is what we believe will be one of the leading VR companies in 3 to 5 years, leading companies globally. We believe that the real opportunity for VR comes in that time frame when everyone who has a smartphone will have free VR in their pocket. So it won't be a question of who can afford a high-end gaming computer, who can afford a high-end headset. We believe that capability will come organically as Android rolls up Daydream and as other opportunities develop. And the processing power in mobile phones will reach parity on the graphics level with the PlayStation 4 in about 2 to 3 years, and with the minimum specs for VR PC in 3 to 4 years. And so we are building a company, building a team and capability to be one of the leaders in content and technology in 3 to 5 years. So for us, the burn rate, the cost advantages of Kathmandu are very important to us.
That's great. So let's pivot back a little bit to the game that you were showing off at E3. Do you have a trailer or anything else we can take a look at?
We do have.
I can probably bring it up.
Yeah, we don't have one publicly released right now because the game's evolving so quickly. We had a short trailer at E3. We'll release one shortly. The game really began as more of a horror puzzle game where you were trapped in a large mansion, but as people demoed it at VRLA and E3, the interest was more in just playing and having fun. And so we've really shifted gears with the game to make an open-ended sandbox game where the goal is really to enter VR and do things and have fun that you can't do outside of VR, not in the same context. And so within the mansion, there's now about 17, 18 different rooms, everything from a living room where you can pick up ceramic plates and vases and throw them across the room and break them, or toss books in the fireplace, to adventure room where you have trampolines and climbing walls and zip lines, to archery gallery or area where you can do archery, to ping pong, and on and on and on. So it's really an open-ended play area.
it sounds a little bit more and more like Rec Room.
Perhaps a little, but we're taking an approach where there's no menus involved. There's no learning curve. You're in the space and you just do what you want to do and have fun. And it's evolving based on what people seem to like to do.
And what platforms are you developing that for? Is that going to be like in everything, or are you going to start on like the Rift or the?
We're working on 9 different platforms right now, including the major ones. We're working with FOV eye tracking, with the Windows platform, and so forth. So we're very platform agnostic. Due to market dynamics, we're attempting to launch on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation VR before the holidays, before Christmas. We expect at the same time it may launch on Vive and possibly Oculus. Most of the in-house development is currently done on Vive.
Understood. So you guys are a studio, so that must mean you have a pipeline.
We do have a pipeline. We have been working initially on internal projects to build our team and our capability to keep everyone busy. But now we're working with a number of outside groups, everything from training areas. One of my companies in Japan in the enterprise space is HR, education, and training. And so we're working with a number of companies on VR training for employees. We're working with a number of companies in the same space in terms of 360 tours for enterprise office recruiting and onboarding. We're also working with some animation and other content studios around both VR games as well as entertainment. We have two projects going for 360 music videos as well.
So I wanted to, before we let you go, and I'm sorry we've had these technical difficulties. We're trying to keep to a strict schedule, so it took a little bit away from our talk. I'm sorry about that. But before you go, I wanted to mention to everyone that you are working with Bob, who just appeared right here, on something that VRVoice is calling the VR for Good Summit, which is taking place on November 17th here in Washington, D.C. You or Bob want to?
Well, that's the reason I wanted you to relay, because he can't hear.
I was just talking. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. I was talking about the VR for Good Summit on November 17th that you're working with Bob on.
Yeah, this really comes out of common interest between Bob and myself. The mission of Paracosma is really looking at VR. Our view is not that it's good enough to make VR as real life, but that in fact with VR you can make virtual realities that are better than real life. You can go to places that are more dangerous, more exciting, just impossible to do for cost or other reasons in real life. And so that's sort of the second tier, is to have VR better than real life. And then I think the final goal is really to use VR to make the real world better, to use the empathy effect of VR, to use virtual tourism, to use the capability to give people a perspective and view on the world and on their own psyche in terms of phobias and other things, so that you can use VR as a tool to improve the real world. And coming out of this, Bob and I began discussions about the whole area of VR and civilization on the broadest level. Is how will VR impact the world? And what are the ethical implications of VR, both for the good and negative? And this is a very, very fruitful and exciting area for us to discuss and dive into.
Well, that was great. Thank you so much. And we appreciate you bearing with us through these technical difficulties and generously giving your time and making yourself accessible to everyone at our free online conference. So thanks again.
Absolutely. I'm happy to follow up directly with anyone who was interested by anything we said here today. So I look forward to that. And thanks for your time and experience here.
Great. Charlie, thanks for doing that. I think that was a good workaround, and we'll have to put that one in our back pocket. So we will be back in just a couple minutes.